YNA is a podcast that focuses on mental health and other aspects relating to what goes on inside of a person's head. We are by no means professionals in this field and only aim to make these conversations about mental health easier for the listener. Nothing we say or talk about is professional advice unless explicitly mentioned. If you seek professional advice or experience symptoms of an actual mental disorder, please contact a professional or visit your closest center for behavioral health. You are not alone.
What's up, guys? Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're looking for more of our content and merch information, be sure to check us out at ynamentalhealth.org. Keep an eye out for our skits and upcoming episode information. Feel free to reach out to us on IG. Our DMs are always open. And please remember, you're not alone.
Hey everyone, welcome back to YNA Mental Health. Today we've got a special episode with someone whose story is all about transformation. From the edge of burnout and depression to creating a space for deep healing, Andres is the founder of Bodhi Menti, a wellness retreat in Colombia that blends nature, psilocybin therapy, and mindfulness. His journey is real, raw, and full of insights for everyone struggling in high-pressure environments or just trying to find their way back to themselves. Andres, it's a pleasure to finally have you on the podcast, and I just want to give you the floor to kind of introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Sina, for having me. I'm really excited about this chat. Quick intro about myself. Colombian, moved to Canada 9 years ago. I came to do my master's. By degree, I'm a data scientist, but now I'm pursuing a completely different type of career. As you said, we are building this base in Colombia that is focused on mental health, eco hotel that we're going to run multiple or different types of retreats, focused on psilocybin, depression, career burnout. As you said, I went through that very challenging moment in my life of depression and burnout, and which really forced me to kind of look for something different.
When it comes to burnout, there's a lot of early signs: physical, emotional exhaustion, just disconnection from the world. Were there any specific moments when you realized you're like, wow, I am really burnt out from like everything that's going on in life right now? Was there anything that just like popped out at you and you were just like, what, I am burnt out?
This was, just to give an idea of my career, I have been in corporate, I was in corporate for at least 12 years. I don't think I ever fit in that world. I never felt part of that. I never felt that I belonged that. But 2023 was really heavy for me. Really, really, really heavy, stressful. I was in a very high pressure job. And I started, obviously I was in this job where you are expected to meet all results, all requirements, working long hours. It doesn't matter what you have to do. You are expected to meet these results. And I started drinking. I started drinking alcohol on a daily basis in a way to relax myself and to numb myself. It became a problem. I started drinking 1-2 drinks per day. It turned out to be 3-4 per day. And I was just normalizing that. I was normalizing to be stressed. I was normalizing to be drinking alcohol to numb myself. I have been always not always, but I have been medicated for the last years. But that year I was in the maximum dose that they can give you for my medicines. I went to the hospital multiple times just for emergency of mental health. Yeah. I had suicidal thoughts, a lot of suicidal thoughts. I had panic attacks. I was not sleeping, waking up at 3 a.m., thinking about the meeting next day, checking my phone, Slack, what is happening. So all this happened, all this storm was happening. And obviously there was a time that I started thinking, this is just not normal. I have to do something because the result of this is not going to be good. Either I could kill myself or I could have a heart attack or something because this wasn't working. And that was my pure experience of burnout, complete burnout. When you really feel completely disconnected who you are, you try, as I said, I was looking in drugs and alcohol, a way to calm myself, to go to sleep and just don't think about it. Yeah, that was the way that I suffered burnout. And that's when I basically hit rock bottom.
when a lot of people hit rock bottom and they actually go further down and they find like this whole new world where it's unbelievable how disconnected we can just simply become just from either alcohol or stress or work or just the same life basis. And there's a lot of people who are in these demanding jobs, but they can't even escape. And so like with financial pressures and the fear of unknown and everything that's going around, how did you find that step? How did you find that courage? I feel like courage is something that a lot of people struggle with. I've struggled with finding the courage in myself to just take the next step to doing a next podcast, taking the next step to doing another merchandise drop. We all have to start over sometimes, but what gave you the confidence in yourself to be like, I am and I need to start over?
It was a mix of stuff, but I will start saying, I think I was pushed to my limits. I was in a very dark stage in my life where, like, as I said, I was having suicidal thoughts on a daily basis and I was using alcohol and drugs to numb myself. And there was a moment where you start thinking, I think that the fear of continuing that path is more than the fear of starting something new. And I thought I have to do something. This is not working for me. And to be honest, it didn't work for the all 10 years that I worked in corporate, but this was the moment that I pushed that limit. And I was thinking, if I don't do something, like things are going to go real, real bad. And I think that that's when you reach that point and that mentality that it opens up to new ideas. Like I think that in my case, I needed that really last push to start thinking, okay, what is actually important for me? And how can I do to transform my life and redefine the journey that I'm taking in my life? So the courage came, I think it's kind of like pushed by that. In my case, very specifically, like also at that time, 2023, we went with my family. It was my dad's birthday, 70 years old. We went to south of Italy, beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of storm on my corporate job, and we stayed in these couple of Airbnbs where like it was like a family-run business, and these people were like growing their own olives and they were making their own like olive oil. They were growing grapes. They were really like making their own wine and stuff. And I talked to them, and they were like telling me like for them what is actually like what truly matters, right? And they were telling me like we have time for our family, we have time to enjoy a nice wine, we have time to enjoy a nice meal, we have time to go and pick up our own grapes, pick up our own olives, pick up all the stuff. And I was thinking, this is actually cool. This is success. Yeah. And obviously pushed by that feeling and having this is when I started thinking there are different ways to do it. It's not only, I don't have to follow what I thought at that time was success. I don't have to go after high paying jobs, important titles that I can put on LinkedIn, like financial stability, which is important.
Sure.
But like there are different ways. I think that all this story pushed me to that. Plus having that experience was the moment that I said, I need to do something. And I like the idea of having a hotel. I like the idea of being in warm weather. So like, I think that was how it pushed me there.
A lot of people get stuck in the cycle of needing to succeed, and we get defined in this word of succession when it comes to financial compensation. I need to reach this level of financial compensation to become successful. And I feel like we get lost in that word, in just the word success. How did you redefine that for yourself? I feel like that's really difficult for people to do, is just be like, what? Success is something different for me. Success will be something different for me. If someone's stuck in that mental model, how did you just pull away from financial compensation to being like, yes, I made over 6 figures. Finally, I feel successful.
It is, I think, a constant job for me. I come from a very competitive environment. Like my high school was extremely competitive. We always value, like we were compared all the times. Who is getting the best scores? Who is getting the best grades? Who's going to get to the best university? Once we got to university, it was the same. Who is getting the best scores? And now who is going to get to the best companies? Who's going to get the best jobs? Who's going to get the best salaries? It is really hard. Like in my opinion, it was really hard. And I still find it hard. I still have to fight it because you are so overwhelmingly like pushed and pressured to like follow this money path and like fake kind of power path that is really hard. So kind of going to your question is like, how do you find the strength to change, or like how do you find like this motivation? I think that you have to really question yourself and ask yourself, like, are you really being yourself? That's one thing that happened to me. Like, I was pretending to be somebody else when I was corporate. I never fit in that culture. It's really hard to fit for me.
Yeah.
The constant just kind of lying and then just saying that everything is all right and like that kind of things, it goes against like my values. Like for me, not everything is money. I respect people. I want to have empathy. I want to try to support people. So like those things are really important. So it goes back to like, what is really important to you? What is really what matters to you? And again, it's really hard to get out of that cycle. It's really difficult. I still, like, honestly, I still question myself sometimes. Am I doing the right decision? But I go to the same process of what I was doing wasn't right because I was miserable. I was so sad. I was depressed. I got into alcohol, all this stuff. It wasn't working. So I need to do a change, right? Like I had to do a change. Mm-hmm. And when I think about like, I'm really excited for what I'm going to, from what we're doing. I'm like, it's probably one of the first times that I feel so motivated of what I'm doing in terms of work. So it really is like a matter of asking yourself, are you being your true self, right? If that works for you, fine. That is fine. But if it doesn't work for you, keep asking yourself stuff. Like if it's not working, then go back to like what really matters to you. What are your core values? What is your true self? Mm-hmm. And then forget about it. We only have one life. Like we don't have to follow any types of like any standard model. Everybody is different and everybody has their own paths and we go at different paces and that's completely fine. That's awesome. So we don't have to follow anything. And if you think that by just getting away from that and actually helping people is going to make you happier, that's what you should do. Like you should try to find that courage to do it. Now, financial stability is hard. Yeah, I understand. But when you go and like you guys, as I said in my case in Italy, you see these cases of like these people, they find ways. I mean, like they find ways to survive and to live a nice life. Maybe you don't need that much, right? Like I was making the 6 figures and all this power and having my team and all this stuff. But at the end, I don't need that much. And I'm happy with like, I'm a simple person. I'm happy with little things. And I'm excited that like we don't have to, that I don't have to live with so much that I don't have to like aspire for like all this big money. Like I'm really happy about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of things is comparison is the thief of joy, right? We compare ourselves to others and we start to think that why do they have this and why don't I have this? Why am I not as successful as them? And it's kind of defining what truly success means to you and what's your why, what are your morals, what are your values? And I feel like a lot of people just get stuck in this world of like repetitive cycles of like financial stability equals success, which equals my strength, which gives me power. And if I get the next promotion, then I'm up and then I'm down. And then it's just this consistent cycle that you are right when you say like you are consistently lying to yourself, right? Like when does the lying stop? When do you look yourself in the mirror one day and say, what, this is enough. When am I going to stop hurting myself? And so when it comes to mental health, I know that you have expressed a lot and been very, very vulnerable when it comes to your mental health, which is really important. I think a lot of men these days struggle with just being vulnerable in general. And us wanting to remind all the guys out there, being vulnerable is a strength, not a weakness. And so we want to experience this shape, this whole world of view for giving men the power back of like talking about my feelings is okay. Talking about my problems is all right. If I'm weak, if I'm not having a good day, I don't have to stay strong. I can cry. It's going to be all right. But when it comes to these experiences, it feels like society has not moved us in that direction. But what is your view when it comes to men and mental health?
I think you touched a very important point here. I come from the Latin culture, so very close to what you are describing. Like Latin culture and many other cultures, to be honest, they expect men to be tough. When you are vulnerable, you might seem weak. It's hard to open up to emotions. Maybe that's more for women. That's kind of like the stereotype that we have in Latin culture. Men should have everything under control, and if you're having a bad time or you're having difficulties, just continue.
Get over it.
Get over it. Yeah, exactly. It's not that bad. But that's something we have to break. That's something we have to completely change. Vulnerability is a huge strength. And I can say from personal experience, before my burnout, I think that I found it very hard to open up to my partner and to my family. even to my therapist. I have been, as I have been, and as I have said, like I have been a person with depression for all my life, but still,
Right.
In the corporate world, I always pretended to be strong, under control. Obviously, very difficult to cry. That's not
Yeah.
not for me. When I hit rock bottom, I opened up to my partner and my family, and I think that was one of the most important things that I did in order to start recovery. And that is a symbol of strength. I think that we have to change that mentality that vulnerability is weak, vulnerability is super strong. Being able to open up, being able to talk about your emotions, being able to talk about your thoughts, even being able to cry, that is being strong. We all have these problems. Like, we are humans. We are not robots. We're not machines. We all have we all need help at some point of our lives. Like, that's normal. Go open up, ask for help. And the more that we do this, like this podcast is super important. Like, the more that we do like events like this, the more that at least men are going to get familiar to this and they're going to get used to it. We have to break this stereotype. Like, have to break it, that it doesn't make any sense. It is hard. We have been taught to this, but we have to break it because so many people are suffering in silence, and it's so hard. It's so hard. I was part of that. I can relate to that. And when you suffer in silence, I think, in my opinion, obviously you are suffering, but the biggest problem is that you don't seek for help. And then if you don't have help, you keep suffering, and that builds up and has an effect in your health, like physical health, obviously in the mental health, but it builds up, right? It builds up until you explode. And eventually you might end up like me, looking for alternatives, like it could be alcohol, or it could be like any type of addiction or something, because you need escape.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if we open up, we are open, we are like, it's a strength. Be open, be vulnerable. If you're able to talk about your emotions, you're also more in control of your emotions once you talk about them. And it makes you such a mature and a strong person, like from a personal and mental perspective.
No, and I completely agree with you. I think we truly heal when we talk about what we're feeling. Like, if we keep it bottled up inside and we don't talk, we don't get anywhere. We just spin in circles. And it's back to this whole cycle of like, people just get stuck. And it's hard to become unstuck when you've been stuck in these mental models that have forced you to say, hey, I can't cry. Get over it. I just got to keep going. Like, you get to a breaking point where you burn out, and then you realize that all of this time has passed where I could have really figured it out by now, but you haven't. And it's a world that I can connect with you on, that depression is just something that if you haven't felt, then it's something that's just so hard on you. It's hard on your mental, it's hard on your body, it's hard in general just to deal with. But it's like finding the power within you to tell depression, like, hey, fuck you. I'm going to talk about my feelings. I'm going to be strong. I need to be strong. If I'm not strong, I'm not healing. I'm not going to heal anywhere. But to become strong, I believe you need to be weak, and that's okay. And we need to understand that failure is a key to becoming successful, and not only in compensation form, but also in just your mental health. It's so important. Now, a big part of your healing journey involves something, and that's getting a lot more attention lately, which is psilocybin therapy. I'd love to hear about your first experience with it. What was it like for you, and how did it shift your mindset for your mental state?
Yeah. So psilocybin, the truth is, I did mushrooms before as a recreational kind of experience, and it was fun. Sure. 2023, as I said, when I had my burnout, and I was in my like severe depression, and I have like my lowest moment, I came across with a couple of books about psilocybin. I actually came across with also like there's a documentary on Netflix that talks like with Paul Stamets, very famous person for mushrooms. He talks about how he did mushrooms, and he had like a stutter problem, and then he did like a what do you call it in the street, a heroic dose, and then he woke up and he was not stuttering anymore. So it was so impactful. I read a couple of books and I got interested. I have been always being very curious about mental health. As I said, the depression kind of like guides you to be curious about this and learn and understand your condition. So I thought, why not? The first one that I did that was mycotherapy was in Colombia. It was a guided therapy. it wasn't as structured as I think it should be, but I came prepared because I read books and I read online stuff, what to expect and all this. I probably took 9 to 10 grams of dried mushrooms. That is like heroic dose, what you call it.
Yeah.
But that is during the session, I think that I was blindfolded. Like I was in a setup with like surrounded by trees, plants, like very, very, very bright, but like also very like surrounded by nature. So after, I guess, an hour or two, when it kicks in, the first thing is like the visuals that I got. So like, and I think that this is the stage that maybe people are more familiar with when you do like recreational one. Is like I was blindfolded, you get these visuals, patterns and colors, and it's kind of like the fun stage. After that, I got an explosion of connection to the universe and connection to humans and connection to animals and plants and empathy. A feeling that I never had in the past of empathy in a way that I was able to feel, for example, what my partner was feeling, because I was, as I said, with the alcohol, we had a lot of issues as a couple. We had a lot of fights and it was destroying the relationship, and I was affecting her because of the addiction. And I was able to kind of feel what she was going through, something that I never experienced in the past. And I saw it so clear, like what I'm doing is hurting her and it's hurting my family as well. At that time, we also had a dog she had cancer, the dog. So I was almost like able to feel kind of like her pain and the stress. And you feel, in my sense, after that, I felt feeling of love and peace and tranquility that I had never experienced in the past, where kind of like I felt if I die now, like I will die so in peace. Like this is such a relaxing moment.
Yeah.
And I think that after that is when it like, I think that once your mind opens up space is when miracles come. And then it's when I started thinking about, like, I have depression. It's a medical. My family has it. There's genetics in the back. It's not awesome. I'm not going to say that. It's not that of it. But it doesn't define me. That's not where I am. I'm not this dark cloud. Like, I have it. But I also have tools to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I accept it. And it's something that I'm going to deal with for the rest of my life. But I accept it at that time. It's something that maybe before I was taking this perspective of, oh, I have depression, I'm sad, kind of like an excuse. But now it's responsibility and saying like, yeah, I have it. But I have tools. I can change. I can live with it. And it's not going to completely alter my life. I can still have a nice life. It was also a feeling, as I said, of peace, love, and happiness, which encourage you to pursue that. After that is like, I am capable of feeling happiness and tranquility, which is something that for me was so hard. Like, honestly, all my life, I think that I have been always such a stressed person, and like always with anxiety and like always with the phone and looking for something and stuff. And I had that piece that is like, I am capable of feeling that. And it's kind of my responsibility from now on to try to pursue that feeling. And it was in that moment that I also like realized, like, I don't have to follow anybody's kind of traditional perspective of success. I don't. It has brought me so much unhappiness. I was a miserable person, and I can redefine what is success for me. I can redefine my story. So I felt that, I think was like few things that were so impactful after that. With this person that I did the therapy, we had like integration therapy after, and we discussed this. But for me was that feeling of, as I said, empathy, love, connection to the universe, but at the same time, like a motivation it showed me that I'm capable of feeling those things, and then a motivation to pursue that, like to follow those, like you are capable. So I think that you should try to do it. That's how I felt.
Yeah. And just the whole path of healing is just unbelievable. And to be able to rewire your brain and to feel what it feels like to see your partner and be like, this is what's causing us issues, and connecting to your dog and connecting to nature. It's just, That's beautiful. Like it's like something that like you try to explain to people when it comes to psilocybin or when it comes to mushrooms in general. The connection that you feel is unbelievable, and to rewire your brain is powerful. And truly, like, claps to you. Pat yourself on the back, because that's something a lot of people can't. Like, a lot of people go all their life and they can't face themselves in the mirror, but you did. You went face to face with it and were able to heal yourself in that path. And healing emotional intensity, my God, like handling all of that with the trauma and the retreat in general, like talking about all of this healing is just so powerful. And I hope that people, at least, there's going to be a lot of people who listen who are going to be very skeptical and who are very against drugs and very against of the form of what psilocybin's like and what mushrooms can do for you. And I think the goal here is just to provide them with education, provide them with experiences and stories that have helped others. And it's not something that we're trying to push people to go outside and go do mushrooms, go crazy. Like, no, it's like, if you struggle mentally with depression, with these mental disorders, like the focus is, let's truly find a place to heal. Like, we need to heal. Some of us need to heal our inner child, and there's nothing wrong with that. But so let's jump into the retreat. Like, I know that this whole podcast, I've been very excited to talk to you about this, but I think the big thing that people are going to be questioning is, how do you ensure that the retreat provides truly safe and non-judgmental space for people carrying these heavy emotional burdens? Like having all of this emotional intensity, flying into Colombia, going into the forest, going along with you. How can we ensure them that they're going to be all right?
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, before I just remember something is like, when you mentioned the alcohol, I obviously I went to groups, which is was extremely helpful. My therapist and also medicine, but I honestly think that after having or feeling that kind of like pain that I was causing to my partner and my family was so impactful that it made me change my relationship with alcohol. It really changed, because I thought, this is people that I love. Do I want to cause this pain to them? Right. And I was creating problems with alcohol. Like I was, as I said, drinking every day, and I was getting into trouble. So I was like, do I want to do this for them? So the level of empathy was so huge that it made me like, it really made me feel that and say, okay, I knew that I need to change, but like, this was like a really shocking part of saying it is important to change and I need to do it. And now, sorry, I was just
You're good.
Just answering about the retreat and the safety and non-judgmental. So safety, there's multiple layers here of safety. This is in a place in Colombia that is pretty safe because it's near Parque Tayrona, which is probably the most important natural park of Colombia. So like, Colombia can have this background or whatever that there might be some danger there, but like, this area is super safe. There's control. The government has to put military forces there to control it because it's such an important touristic place of Colombia that nothing happens there. It's pretty safe. Like, it's going to be great. When you talk about the retreat, we have partnered with top doctors that have been leading this type of medicine, and like, they have been leading this type of retreats. And I think that we have come up with like a really good and well thought program where safety is our top priority. So we start with a pre-screening process. So this type of medicine is really safe, but there are some conditions that maybe kind of like, it will not be a good fit if you have those conditions. So we want to make sure that in that pre-screening, we capture your medical history, your family's history, so that in case our retreat is not the right fit for you, we will let right away. Right. And maybe we can recommend another type of retreat, but like, we want to be very sure that it's not going to be a problem there. We have a ratio inside the retreat. We have a ratio of 1 staff per two guests. So like, we are really trying to get a personalized experience. We have 3 sessions that is individual with the therapist. And in all this process, if the therapist or the professional sees that there might be something that is not safe, they will raise it and we will flag it and we will have to stop the process. We, like, as I said, safety is our top priority. We will have a nurse on site 24/7. We'll have a call, we'll have a doctor on call, and we'll partner with like medical facilities in the area just in case something happened. So I think that safety it's a top priority for us, and we are taking all precautions and all type of measurements so that we ensure that it's going to be safe. Now, not judgmental, I think it comes to the core values of what we're building. In my personal experience, I started healing, as I said, when I was vulnerable. And when I was completely open to everybody, my family, my therapist, about all the struggles that I was having. And I got a really good response from them, not judgmental and not stuff. And I know that if I had a bad response, my journey will be so different. So this is core for us. We are working around respect, understanding, empathy. So obviously our professionals, like our therapists, are completely trained to not be judgmental. Like, this is a complete safe space. You can open up. This is the whole idea. If people are not able to open up in our space, it's because we are failing. Yeah. And this is core for us. And I talk about from personal experience. Like, as I said, if I didn't open up, I would be in a very different position right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to put it there. Obviously, between guests and stuff, there's like a zero tolerance policy of judgment. I don't think it will happen because this is already people that come for a place to heal. But I think the main thing is we have very trained professionals, and the core values of the company coming from personal experience are around that: respect, not judgment, empathy, understanding.
Yeah, and those ideas and those values really explain just the whole story of the retreat by itself. But let's jump in. What inspired you? What got you to be like, yes, this is the idea we're going to chase after? What is the meaning behind the name? Give me all the details.
Yeah. So I always had the dream of creating a hotel in a warm place. That was a long time, like long, I will say at least for 10 years, that was my dream, long-term dream. When it came after my burnout and leaving that job that was high stress, and because of my relationship with depression, I thought, and because I think there's a gap, and I think that it's a silent epidemic, to be honest. I think that now I think people are opening up, but I still think there's a huge gap, mostly in corporate world, that people are afraid to open up, and there's so much stigma and like kind of like criticizing that is hard. I think I want to build something where mental health is kind of the center. I initially thought, for me, being connected to nature has helped a lot. So that's why we put this place that is kind of in the middle of the jungle, and we want people to go there and completely forget about the stress and like the rush lives. Obviously, there's going to be connection to internet, but like we expect people to disconnect from technology so that they can really be in the moment, present. We can have grounding exercises, mindfulness, all this stuff. So basically, I thought about this retreat to be focused on mental health. And then after having the experience of psilocybin, I thought it was very powerful to me. And it is coming up again. Like, more research is like, it was paused for, I don't know, probably 50 years for political reasons, but it's coming in the last 5-6 years. You see more and more research coming, more psychiatrists, more doctors running these experiments. And it's very, like, the results are very promising. And I talk from a personal experience. It was such a powerful experience that I said, I think it's moment to incorporate that. In Colombia, psilocybin is not legal, but it's not illegal. It's like decriminalized. So we can do that, and it's allowed. You are allowed to do retreats with this type of medicine. So we thought, I thought this is the perfect moment. And again, like, I really want to build this place where people can come, heal, open up, where mental health is in the center of everything. People can come and reconnect with themselves, which is something that I was struggling with a lot, and people can come and accept themselves again. So that's kind of like the motivation behind. That's why we decided to do it. The name is a playing with words. So body, BODHI, is awakening in Buddhist philosophy. Mente is mind in Spanish. So what we're trying to play here is like the awakening of the mind.
Wow. Okay.
Which is something that I experienced in the sense of I kind of like broke those chains of what society was expecting of me, and now I'm focusing on my own journey. And then there's another piece that is body, obviously sounds as the human body. And then it's because we are trying to, it's the harmony between mind and body that also helps to grow and heal. So that's the kind of like the reason or the meaning behind the name.
I could really see your passion just from like you speaking about it. I could tell that you have this like inspiration to keep going and to show the world what the help that mental health needs and how we can simply go on a retreat and that we can really rewire ourselves. And I think a lot of people are going to wonder, I think my experience from learning about these retreats is there's a documentary, I'm not sure if you've seen, about Aaron Rodgers. He's a famous quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Used to be. And he goes on this retreat. It's a documentary, just is showing his story from start to finish. And it's very interesting. You can see how emotional he gets. You can see the connection he creates with the world and how it really affects him. But can you walk us through what someone can expect from start to finish? Like, I know you don't need to go into like crazy, this is exactly what happens when you get off the plane to where you are in the jungle. No, just like a simple, like if it's somebody who's just getting started and what they can expect at the end of it all.
Yeah. So as I said, we partnered with multiple doctors to structure this program. We decided to come with 6 nights, 7 days. You have pre-sessions. So like before getting to the retreat, before we have the pre-screening medical process, if you pass that, you have pre-sessions with our therapists where you are expected to kind of like set the intentions of your retreat, obviously talk about your mental health and like what you expect from the retreat. Also, this is the moment where the therapist can solve or answer any questions or fears that you might have. Once you are in the retreat, we have 2 microdose sessions. So the first one is, it depends on like how comfortable they feel with the medicine. So we might start with a lower dose around 3 to 5 milligrams. People that are already used to it, we can go directly to 7 to 10 milligrams, grams, not milligrams, of dried mushrooms. The second one is a higher dose. So we have 2 sessions. There's going to be group sessions to discuss your experience, to discuss like the different intentions and expectations of everybody in the group. We are going to have yoga sessions. We're going to have meditation sessions. We're going to have breathing exercises just to ground and like be present in the moment. After, we have like one day that we kind of call it the adventure day, that is more like to visit and just walk around Colombia and the area naturally and the stuff. We have a little party there that is in the night of the last day. Once you're back, we're going to have 3 sessions with your therapist, and that is the integration, where what we do is the therapist goes through the experience and you analyze what happened in the experience. Like it could be based on the visuals that you experience, the emotions that you experience, everything that happened, you're going to discuss it. And the therapist is going to use that and other tools so that you keep improving and you keep healing. That's a very high level, kind of like what is going to happen. We are also focusing a lot on community. So after your retreat, we have groups and we have community, so that it's not you did a retreat and that's it. Like we want people to keep engaged and we want people to keep sharing what happened. One thing that for me is really important is this part of community, because as I said, I never felt part of corporate. Like I never felt that I had a community in that sense, but this is my community, I feel. And we want to build this. In total, you will get around 30 hours of therapy in the whole retreat. Some of them are individual, some of them are group therapy, but like that's kind of the whole, like when we were discussing with like the experts, I think that was a number that we were trying to achieve, because that's something that they were telling us. It's an intense experience, but we wanted to make it very personal and we wanted to make it very deep so that we actually are going through healing. So that's kind of like high level what you can expect from the retreat and like kind of the timings and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's really important, because I feel like a lot of people are going to come and be very unsure of what they're going to be walking themselves into. And 30 hours of therapy isn't something like many people are going to be able to be like, yeah, it's 30 hours, like that's a lot of therapy, especially from someone who goes to therapy, It's very intense. And so I think that what you're doing is important because it shows the level of healing someone needs to go through to deal with whatever they're struggling with. And that's something that's really powerful. And so I think the one thing that really stuck with me was when you were talking about a lot of disconnection. A lot of people disconnect from their jobs, disconnect from life, disconnect from everything. How do you help people in this retreat with disconnection? How do you help them reconnect? Is it the psilocybin? Is it the group sessions? Is it the therapy? Is it being in Colombia in itself? If you could go back and see how you reconnect, can you give that to somebody who will come to your retreat?
I think it's a mix of all the things you said plus other things. One, I think it starts with location. I mean, it's not only because it's Colombian, I'm a Colombian. It's we picked this place because we felt a deep connection to the area. Like it's, as I said, I should actually like say here, the Sierra Nevada, that is where we are putting, is like the most biodiverse place in the world. So you literally could find all ecosystems. It goes from the beach all up to like the mountains where there's snow. So you literally find all climates in all that path and all ecosystems. That is also the land of an Asian culture in Colombia called the Kogis. And they have been very vocal in terms of like, they are the big brother and we are the small brother. And it's because we don't know how to treat the planet. We don't respect nature. And they do know, so they're trying to teach us. So there's already like some ancient there, like knowledge that in the area, you can feel it. But besides that, it's like your connection with nature. Like we really want, like this is going to be deep in the jungle. So, there's not going to be that pollution of the city and noise pollution, lights. So you are going to be really immersed in that. I think that's the first step. Once you arrive there, that's the opportunity to disconnect from your life, disconnect from technology, your phone, social media, all this stuff. And then I think the therapy that we have, all the grounding exercises that we have, I think that in my case, before reconnecting was to being present. That was the first step. So like, I think that you need a shock, like a stop. And then I was reconnect, like I was being present. Because I was always in another part. Like my body was here, but my mind was in 12 parts, in the phone, Slack, answering emails. So the first thing is come here and be present, be with yourself. I think a lot, helps a lot with this. Having the therapy, having professionals that will guide you and will help with that. And yeah, definitely, I think psilocybin is the medicine that helps. Like, I think it's a medicine that like provides such unique experience that it really helps you to go back to what you care, who you are, your values. And as I said, in my case, when I released all those emotions and I was able to be vulnerable and open up, I think that the same mind gets some space to finally start getting new ideas. And I think that those new ideas can be like the reconnection to yourself.
Yeah, and I think reconnecting with yourself is probably one of the most powerful things we can do as human beings. If you ever become disconnected, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your own life, whether it's your family, when you do reconnect, it's a powerful feeling that a lot of people these days just don't take for granted. They need to be grateful for being able to reconnect. It's so powerful. And, we've seen you come from high-level job to high-level stress to rock bottom to going to Italy and figuring all of this out and then having a new idea. But, all of life has probably still continues to throw challenges at you. Life is continuously probably and will continue to challenge you throughout this whole adventure of you. How are you going to maintain balance now and after everything you've been through?
Yeah, you are completely right. Like life never stops to throw you challenges, and like that's part of life. For me, it has been having a healthy routine. That's a way that I keep balance. As I said, I already accept that I have this medical condition, but I also know that I have tools, that I have learned tools along the way with therapy and like reading and self-discovery, so I can work and I can tolerate my medical condition. So I have a healthy routine. I try to keep good nutrition, exercise, like physical exercise is super important for me. Like even just going out for a long walk, it really helps. I mean, there's science obviously behind this, but like talking from personal experience, like it's really important to try to keep that. Something that brings me balance is my family, my partner, having these connections and as you said, valuing these little things that sometimes we give for granted, that gives me balance. Like just going out for a walk is so nice that sometimes we just give it for granted. I live here near the lake. It's so beautiful that just going out and walking around like gives me so much peace. But before you just give it for granted, just like I have to go for a walk and then just do it and that's it. Like pressing in the walk, knowing that you're doing that. Obviously, I do breathing exercises. I do meditation. I do mindfulness. I try to listen to podcasts where we talk about mental health, read books about that. That helps me a lot. Recently as well, we adopted a new dog. Came from Mexico. Yeah. She's a little dog. She just came 4 or 5 months ago.
Congratulations.
And she gives me also structure because I know that I have to take care of her. I know that I have to wake up, take her out, walk her. I need to feed her. I need to be sure that she's healthy. So having my dog gives me a lot of balance in my life because it structures me. And maybe not only balance, but like a huge thing that I have right now for motivation is Body Ment. It's really feeling that we are building a place where people can heal. I think is really happy. Like it makes me happy. It really makes me happy, and it keeps me pushing and motivated. And I wake up, and that's something that I'm looking forward to.
I think that's what we find is so exciting about life these days is like finding our true inspiration to keep going. Whether you don't have money or whether your job is not working, when you have that motivation, when you have the inspiration, it feels like nothing can stop you. And that's so powerful. And this conversation has been so powerful, and I've really enjoyed everything that we've talked about. So, and I feel like a lot of people are going to take a lot from this. So if anybody's interested in this retreat, we're very excited to share more about it. And before we wrap this up, so what's next for you? What's next for Body Menti? What are some new projects? Anything that we can get the viewer, listener can get excited about? Tell us all about it.
Yeah. Well, Body Menti, we just started construction last week. So we're really happy. I'm moving to Colombia next week to take lead of the construction. We anticipate something around 12 to 18 months to have it fully ready. So obviously my first priority and main goal is next year be fully operational, a lot of open doors for our public.
Yeah.
We want to, when we were even discussing the branding and that stuff, and they were asking what do you expect with Body Menti? Like we want to be like a global leader in terms of retreats and like a new type of experience for tourism that is related to mental health, disconnecting and finding yourself. So that's a huge part. We want to not only build it, but establish ourselves like that. Once we have that, we have plans of opening new spaces in different places in Colombia. Initially, I personally have the idea that we're going in this place that is near the beach, but I think that being able to build it in different type of natural environments is going to provide a different experience, which I think is so cool. So we have been already kind of dreaming about there's one place near Medellin that is amazing because it's the mountain, it's different temperature, different weather. Like you find different animals, it's so cool. And then there's another one that is more like on the desert. So we have this, and I think not only because maybe hot weather might not be for everybody, so maybe some people. So we want to open that space, but also because I think that the connection with nature is so important that it might provide different experiences depending on the location. So that's what we have, fully focused on that. On a personal level, I think I would like to start writing my journey of what happened, and also like how we're building this hotel. Like it could be a blog, it could be a podcast or some videos. We're building this from like scratch, right? Like we just got the land. It's virgin land. I'm not a builder, so I'm gonna be putting myself out there. Like as you said, there's gonna be errors, there's gonna be mistakes, but we're just improving and I'm just trying it and making it better. As well, I recently started to write a movie.
Crazy!
I love movies. I'm really honestly, that's one of my favorite hobbies. And I never had the chance to do that because I was always so focused on numbers and results and stuff. That is the first time that I'm getting into like the art type of things. I'm writing this movie It's a science fiction movie. It is based on my journey, so it touches a lot of burnout, corporate world,
Nice.
depression, mental health. As I said, it combines with some science fiction, so there's a little crazy things happening there. I'm writing that. I think eventually I will put it through AI, kind of like to make a low budget movie. Obviously, it's not high budget, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited about that. I will share it. Like again, I'm not first time writing this. Like I'm not an expert, so like it's not. I'm not expecting this to be like a huge success. But I think it's just a cool kind of like a cool side project.
Well, we wish you nothing but the best when it comes to your movie, to the hotel, to the retreat, going to Colombia, moving there, starting your life there, and just starting construction, breaking land. You've truly, I hope the people who listen really take from this and really come and explore, not even if it's not your retreat, somebody else's retreat, really explore the healing that it takes when it comes to mental disorders and what mental health is all about and how you find your own health in healing and finding everything that you're doing. So I really do want to appreciate you for coming on. For anyone who wants to learn more about Body Menti or connect with you, where can they find you?
I mean, just social media, Instagram, just Body Mente Hotel, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. My direct email is andres@bodymentehotel.com. If anybody is interested, just send me an email. I will be happy to chat or whatever. And as you said, yeah, it doesn't, like, again, obviously everybody's welcome to my retreat and it will be awesome. But like whatever reason you prefer other type of retreats, I think it's completely fine. What I like about this is creating these spaces where we can open up, we can share real stories that happen. And honestly, like I will feel super happy if like even somebody that is out there listens to this story and just by hearing this says like, I want to open up. Like, I think that would be such a huge success. I think I will be so happy that this is an opportunity for people to relate. Like again, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's actually strong and it's okay to ask for help. Help is out there and it's completely okay to actually request or ask for help.
Yeah, and I want to remind people that the goal of YNA is to help one person at a time, and hopefully that one person helps another, and that one person helps another, and we continue this huge domino effect of helping people with their mental health. And I want to remind everyone who's listening, I really appreciate you for coming and listening to this podcast. It truly means a lot to me. It truly means a lot to Andres. I mean, you guys taking the time for us, it means the world. So it's okay to take off the mask, to feel and to heal. So I just want to remind you, please remember, you're not alone, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.